taller than your little 2-inch square.
Exactly. So I'm sitting down with artist Paige King Johnson. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Thank you for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me on. It's nice to meet a new face. I'm always, getting used to all these Zoom things and you're meeting all these people in computer form and it's like, okay, maybe one day we'll actually get to meet in person.
It's been crazy because I've done so many Zooms over the last I went to LA for a film festival and I was like, oh my God, these are people. These are people I've talked to over Zoom. It's like, oh hey, like you're a real person. It's just not robots on a screen, right?
You're like, oh, you're much taller than your little 2-inch square.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. So before we talk about the new single and stuff that you have going on, I want to go back to the beginning. What made you want to become a singer?
I was always the kid who had to have attention on me. I was just that person. So whether it was me wanting to sing in church or completely taking over the living room and standing in front of the TV while everybody else tried to watch TV, that was me. So I think my parents kind of had an inkling that I would be a performer of some sort. And my mom had my sister and I in piano lessons whenever I was young. And I enjoyed music then and really was just there because I wanted to be like my older sister. And but my grandpa kind of saw that I was enjoying music and that it was pairing well, and I enjoyed singing in church and I enjoyed singing in the car or whatever. So he bought me a guitar whenever I was 10 years old for Christmas, actually. And he gifted that to me and encouraged me to start taking lessons to try to explore a new side of music. And so I did, and I really enjoyed it. And that following Easter, my grandfather actually passed away. And so I kind of took that as my sign from him and from God and just the world in general that maybe this whole music thing was something that I was meant to do and to take seriously. And so that was really when I started putting my heart into music lessons and really taking music seriously. And I absolutely fell in love with it. And it's just kind of been no looking back since then.
So the new single, Baby Don't, is your latest single. Take me behind what inspired the writing of this song.
I wish I could tell you that. This is the first song that I've ever cut that was an outside song. Um, I have written all of my past singles, and I've been writing songs since I moved to Nashville about 6 years ago. And uh, I love being a writer on my own songs because you do have that personal connection. But Baby Don't was actually a song that was sent to me by my friend and mentor, Miss Pam Tillis, and she knew I'd been working on some new music, and this song came across her lap, and she texted it to me, and immediately before I could even read what the text said, she called me. And I was like, oh boy. And so I answered and I said, hey Pam, what's up? And she goes, I just heard this song, and I know you're getting ready to work on some new music, and it sounds exactly like it fits you. She goes, if you don't record this song, you're crazy. And she hangs up. Okay. And I listened to the song and I fell in love with it. It's kind of like the edgy, fun song that I felt like I was looking for as an artist. And at the end of the day, I always say that the best song wins, no matter if it was written by myself or it was written by hit songwriters like Baby Don't was. And so it was kind of fun to take that on and kind of make it my own and bring life to it.
I saw the music video and I really enjoyed it. And I did see that was going to be my follow-up question to you, is I did see that Pam had a hand in directing that. Kind of what is it like working with someone like her? And then also working with her behind the lens as she's kind of directing you in that.
Yeah, this was the second video that Pam and I have worked on together. And our whole friendship and relationship started from her coming on and directing the music video for my last single, Just Like You. Um, and so it was uncharted waters already. And so we were kind of figuring each other out and coming back together for the second video, and having had a whole year's long worth of friendships and talking back and forth and getting to know each other. this was a really special project, and it's really cool to see Pam get in her director element because she's such an amazing artist, and I grew up listening to her, from my whole childhood. And um, so not only to be able to call her a mentor is just a really cool thing, but to see her kind of bring a whole new life to a song in a completely different way that she had never done before she met me. Um, Obviously was I was very honored in that, but it was just really cool to kind of see her thrive and feel her way through and bring that artistic side of her in behind the camera lens, and to see her being able to do that and knowing how to explain things to me as an artist, because she's been in front of the camera, and so she knows how to portray things behind the camera, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah, I'm a big movie guy, and I always talk to actors and stuff like that. And it's always like actors are always like it's much easier sometimes to work with people that have done both sides of the camera because they know what to expect and what to do on both sides of that. So that's really cool. You recently had some amazing news. Obviously, you were nominated for 3 Carolina Country Music Awards, including Female Artist of the Year. What was it like getting that call?
Crazy, insane, all of the above. It's always, I tell people all the time, it sounds cheesy, but it's always an honor just to be nominated for awards like that. I'm from North Carolina, and North Carolina is a huge part of my heart. And so, for my music and my songwriting to be recognized amongst all the other amazing Carolina artists between North and South Carolina it truly is just an honor to kind of be in the ranks amongst those people. And so I'm always grateful whenever those came in. And this is the second year that I've received nominations through those. And so it's still one of those pinch me moments, and like, okay, don't get too excited because you don't know how it's going to end up. But it's really cool to say that, I've had some songs that have been nominated, and it's fun whenever they are. Like, if I got nominated for Songwriter of the Year with one of my past singles, She Holds This House Together, for this year. And so I was able to call up my co-writer and be like, our little song baby is being recognized. So that's fun.
So this, we talked a little bit before, but this last year, I mean, almost 2 years now, has been a little bit trying, obviously, for artists in all fields. What have you kind of done to stay proactive and stay creative, obviously trying to create new music or trying to write new music? What have you kind of done to kind of push that?
At the beginning of all of this, when everybody was in the funk of everything, and obviously I had about 75 shows get canceled within about 2 weeks. And so that was hard. And I ended up coming from Nashville, and I came back to North Carolina just to be with family. And I spent a good 5 or 6 months just writing like crazy, because I had never had that much time off the road that I could sit down and, really sift through all the random thoughts that I had and put in my phone over the last few years. And so I did a lot of writing in the first part, and took a lot of walks, which is where I get a lot of my inspiration from. And so that was that first half. And then once things started to get a little safer to gather together, I was ready to get into the studio, because I had ended up writing some of my favorite songs that I'd ever been a part of during those few months. And so I got back into the studio and started getting those, creative juices flowing again, and figuring out, how to be a musician again. And thankfully there were some shows kind of sprinkled in there. And then once 2021 hit, I think, we were able to find safe ways to gather again. And so 2021 has been, thank the Lord, my busiest year ever with shows. And I'm finishing up all those shows for this year. And I was looking back, and I have played 115 shows this year, which is crazy. And it's a dream, because I've been pushing and pushing to be able to do music full time, and it's finally becoming a reality. And it's been a really hard year, a tiring year, but a good year too. So I'm grateful for it.
Do you still, I mean, obviously you've played so many shows. Do you still get nerves before you get on the stage?
They're not not nerves. Just because, you know, at the end of the day, this is what's putting food on my table, so you got to do it. There is just more excitement about everything, and with every new show or new artist that I get to open up for, or you know, new venue that I get to play, there's excitement and very much so gratitude that comes in it. But there's not nerves anymore, thank goodness, because at the very beginning I was battling some.
I feel that. I feel that a whole lot. One thing that I like to talk about with people that write, no matter what you write, is obviously writer's block.
Yes.
And what kind of advice and what do you do to kind of overcome that?
I mentioned earlier that I take a lot of walks, and that's where I tend to get a lot of inspiration. And I have come to the conclusion that it's honestly just the only time that I can shut my brain off and I don't have anything else to do. And so I think that's where a lot of it comes. But I also tell people all the time that you can't push artistry of any kind, you know, whether you're a painter, whether you're a writer, whether you're whatever, you can't push that. That's stuff that has to be organic. The good stuff is going to be stuff that just comes naturally. And so I've heard so many times other writers say, if you're in a funk, if you're in a lull and you're having writer's block, just step away from it for a little while, and don't be so hard on yourself thinking, oh my gosh, I have to go back, I have to be productive. Because if you're writing okay songs, then you're not being productive anyways. And just go out and live life, and live something that's worth coming back and writing about.
We talked a little bit about it. Christmas is here, as you said to me, as whether we like it or not. Do you have any Christmas traditions with your family?
We have a few. We always go to my home church in North Carolina. They have a candlelight Christmas Eve service, which has always been one of my favorite things to do. And then we always go to my grandparents on Christmas Day for lunch and get the whole family together. And there's a lot of eating traditions. I'm sitting here thinking, which, like, that's what the holidays are for. But
right,
it's
that's what. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time of the year. Like, it's the worst. It's always like, I'm gonna get motivated. I'm gonna start working out. Then Thanksgiving happens, and then it's like, well, why start now when there's 3 weeks later I'm at Christmas and I'm eating even more? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll just start the new year. So there's a lot of eating things and then a lot of like spending time in the kitchen, which is one of my favorite things. I mean, cooking is, I tell people all the time, it's my second favorite hobby. And so so we spend a lot of time in the kitchen, which I'm grateful for, because I don't always get that when I'm on the road.
All right, so one more question before we go. What is your favorite song to cover?
Oh, gosh, that's just as bad as like asking me what my favorite song is I've written. Oh gosh, there's so many. I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite, but one that I cover in every single one of my shows, which is what I usually end every show with, is Take It Easy by the Eagles. I started doing that, I don't even remember how many years ago. And it's kind of just become a thing that people expect now. And people love singing along. I mean, I think the purpose of covers is obviously to play those songs that everybody knows and everybody loves, and that will kind of get the crowd back together as one again if they've kind of, you know, spaced out. And so that's always a really fun one to do.
A great song too. That's such a great song. It really is.
I always tell people, like, this is my omen to you, like, to the people who have stayed for the whole time, like, please just go live life, take it easy.